casually scrolling through Redfin and Zillow looking at homes, do you know what you're not going to find? The supplemental tax bill that shows up 6 months later, or the fact that living near a top school doesn't mean your kids get in. There's a lot more things that blindside home buyers in the San Francisco real estate market. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 7 things to avoid before they become a financial nightmare. Basically what you need to know before you start writing offers. Now, a lot of people that buy in San Francisco, especially from out of state, they look at our taxes, 1.2%, and they think like, wow, that is really cheap. I had a client that came from San Antonio. They were paying 2.5%, a little over 2.5%, so they thought this was really cheap. So although that 1.2 number does look small, there's a lot more that it entails that I want to talk about. The first big tax surprise is the San Francisco City County transfer tax. And a transfer tax is pretty much just the city is charging you a fee for changing the name on the title from one name to the other. It's just like any other tax. It is what it is. Now, it is customary for the home seller to pay this, but it's still important for home buyers to know because it is a pretty hefty fee. This can still be part of the negotiation. The cost is so high, it's something that you want to consider. So for a $1.3 million house, this fee is going to be about $10,000. The next tax I want to talk about is the supplemental tax bill. And as long as you know about it, it's not going to sneak up on you. It's not a surprise fee or anything. As long as you know about it, it's going to be fine. But there's a lot of home buyers out there that don't have agents that tell them about this. They're just sitting around at home. They're checking their mail 6 months later. They owe the county thousands of dollars. Basically what happens is when you buy the home, the assessor's office does not have the time to tell you exactly what your taxes are. So you just have to essentially pay the taxes that the current seller is paying. So remember when I said the tax rate was 1.2%? Well, that can only go up 2% year over year. So if you've owned the same home for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, your tax burden is so low, it can just be a fraction of the fee of the taxes that the new buyer is going to pay. So when you're sitting down at the closing table, the assessor's office is not going to tell you exactly what your taxes are and what you owe right then and there. Your only responsibility right there is just to pay back the seller what they've already prepaid. So if it's November when you buy the place, but the old seller has paid up until December and they're paying, let's say, $1,000 a month in taxes, you just credit them back that $1,000. But the assessor's office is going to get all the paperwork, get all the information. They're going to see that your 1.2% of that purchase price is a lot higher. So they're going to say, in December, you only paid $1,000, but you really should have paid $2,000. So we want that extra $1,000 back. So it's not a hidden fee or anything. You're just paying back your fair share, and it just takes the assessor's office, 6-8 months to finally get back to you. Now keep this in mind because when we get to blindside number 2, you're going to start noticing how all these expenses are going to start stacking up. But I'm not even done with this first one yet. So now let's talk about HOAs, monthly HOA dues. So if you're buying a condo, there's going to be monthly HOA dues, and those are going to run anywhere from $250 a month all the way up to $2,000 a month. I mean, sometimes you'll even see them for $100 a month, or there's nothing at all. But in general, the lowest HOA you're going to see that you really should budget for is about $250 a month. And they start going up higher and higher depending on how many amenities do you have. Do you have a rooftop pool? Do you have valet parking? Do you have 24-hour security? Do you have a front desk person? The more expenses that your HOA has, the higher your HOA dues are going to be. Now, there's also what they call special assessments, which pretty much means this is an added expense that they did not expect or did not anticipate. Ideally, and hopefully this doesn't happen, but it still does happen in reality. The most recent one I can think of that I ran into was that they needed to upgrade all of their elevators. It was a several $100,000 job. So every unit had like between $10,000 and $20,000 to pay back, and they had like a 3 to 4 year timeline to get that all paid back. Now, this can really hurt the value of a condo when it hits the market because a lot of home buyers just don't have all this extra cash laying around after they buy a place. So what you'll see sometimes is the home seller will credit you this. They'll credit you that whole amount that they owe. Let's say they owe $13,000 over 2 years. They will put that whole $13,000 right in escrow right when you close, and it will wipe that away. But not every seller initially concedes this. Sometimes it's part of the negotiations. This is a way to get in and get a condo and get a home for a lot cheaper because other buyers might just be like, hard no, I'm out. Where in all practicality, it's just another line item. You just either subtract that from the purchase price of the house or just tell them, hey, credit me that. Write it in the offer. You never know. So how do you know if this kind of stuff is going on in an HOA? How do you protect yourself? Well, you want to go through all the disclosures and check the financial health of that building. First thing you want to look at is their HOA budget. budget. You also want to look at the reserve study, check through and read through the meeting minutes, see what they're talking about every month. You're looking for any kind of language like deferred maintenance or a funding shortfall. Make sure that that reserve is not running out. Make sure that the funds are not depleting faster than they're bringing it in. Okay, that was it for blindside number 1. Now let's take a look at blindside number 2, and now we're getting a little more serious. By the way, my name is Erik. I work at City Real Estate. We help over 300 clients annually, over $640 million in annual sales. I do not have a team under me though. All my clients work with me and only with me. For better or for worse, it'll be me you're working with. So if you have any questions or any real estate needs whatsoever, check the description below for all my contact information. I am only a text away. Okay, let's talk blindside number 2, and that is earthquakes. Everyone knows San Francisco has earthquakes. We literally had one last week, like in the middle of the night, like at 3 in the morning. It was like a 3.5, lasted about 5 or 6 seconds. What really shocks homebuyers is the level of risk and how that can change building by building, block by block. Now, soft story buildings are a real big earthquake issue, which means there's some kind of a garage or a business down below, and there's 5 or more units above. These homes do not do well in San Francisco during earthquakes. They've got a really bad track record, and that's exactly why San Francisco created a retrofit program just for these types of buildings. So if you are interested in buying a building like this, you want to check the 3R report. That's something that's going to be in the disclosures. The sellers are required to put that in the disclosures. So you want to check that to see if they have been seismically retrofitted and they did it legally and it passed all the inspections and everything. Now, another type of building that has a lot of issues is brick foundations. They don't hold up in earthquakes. Insurance companies don't like them, and lenders don't like them. Some lenders, some insurance companies will not do business on these buildings at all, and some of them will, but they may charge more. So you really want to do your due diligence beforehand. You want to let your lender know about the building, what you're seeing. You want to call insurance companies and get insurance quotes and tell them exactly what's going on with the building, because home sellers that are selling these buildings know exactly what they've got. They know the risks. They know there's a chance that buyers may back out of escrow once the lender or the insurance company finds out. So it's always best to get your pre-approval on that specific building and get an insurance quote for that exact same building. It not only gives you peace of mind, it gives the seller peace of mind, and it also just makes your offer stronger. Even if somebody has a higher offer than you on offer day, just say that yours is, let's say, $25,000 below, they're gonna call you and say, your offer is airtight, we love it, we want to work with you, but there's an offer that's 25K higher. If you match them, we'll go ahead and do the deal with you. And this really feeds into my adage of the highest offer in San Francisco does not win. The best offer in San Francisco wins. Another earthquake issue to keep in mind is the liquefaction zones. Neighborhoods like the Marina, Bayview, parts of Soma, they are all on landfill that could liquefy during an earthquake. I mean, go up to the Marina and you will not find any 100-plus-year-old buildings up there, but then just take a 15-minute walk south to Pacific Heights and you're gonna find homes that were built in the late 1800s and they are standing strong and their foundations are perfect because they're elevated high on bedrock. And retrofitting costs are not cheap. You're looking at $15,000, $20,000 minimum, and I've seen quotes as high as $250,000. Now, we talked a little bit about insurance. So the insurance companies do not have earthquake insurance. You can buy earthquake insurance, and it's about the same as it would be for your normal homeowner's policy. So if you're paying about $3,000 a year for your regular homeowner's insurance, your earthquake will probably be right around that same amount. And you can get it through your insurance company, but it's a state program, and basically all the money that they receive and collect, they use that money to pay out to rebuild homes that were damaged during earthquakes. Insurance in all of California is becoming a bigger problem every year. Now, we don't have wildfire issues in San Francisco. This is not a high fire zone. We're not categorized as a high wildfire risk, but what is happening statewide does affect us here. Basically, all the big insurance carriers, State Farm, Allstate, a bunch of the other big companies, they don't have the ability to raise rates, and they feel like they have a lot of high-risk properties on their books. And because the California Insurance Commissioner puts caps on how much that they can charge our citizens, these companies just back out completely and they're like, we're done. It's important to call insurance companies, get an insurance quote before you even put the offer in. That way we can tell the seller, hey, we've done our due diligence. We already have insurance. We already know what the rate's going to be. We're not going to be scared off by it. I just saw a home last year in the fourth quarter. We lost out on the home. There was a preemptive offer that got the house from under us, and that buyer backed out because they were shocked by how much the insurance was. So we had the opportunity to go in and get the home. And my clients were not shocked at all by the insurance because we got the insurance ahead of time. Years ago, it was not a big deal. It was just like during the escrow process, your lender would call you about a weekend. Oh, by the way, go ahead and call and get me an insurance quote. And you just call State Farm. They're the best, and they're just like a hair more expensive than the cheapest ones. And they're good to go. Just call them. They're the best. But now it's going to take a little bit more due diligence. You might have to call a few places. And they send actual appraisers out now a month or a couple of months after you close on the house to go and like physically verify to make sure the roof, the foundation, the electrical, the plumbing is exactly what you attested to when you first got that quote. And this all connects to blindside number 4 that we're going to talk about later. So just keep that in mind. There's also a flood insurance if you're near water. You may want to get that. The lender may require you have that. And that can be another $2,000 a year more. And like I mentioned before, when the insurance companies come in and actually inspect the home, they're looking to make sure that you don't have old electrical, old plumbing, old roof, cracked foundation. Lenders and insurance companies have issues with these. So it's just always a good idea to do your due diligence and run all this information past your lenders and your insurance companies before you write that offer. But blindside number 4 that we're going to talk about now has less to do with money. It's not really going to hit your budget as much as it's going to hit your lifestyle. And we're talking about things like fog, microclimates, commute times. Now, San Francisco is pretty small, 7-mile by 7-mile radius. So you would assume that it doesn't take much time to get from one side of town to the other. Wherever you want to go, it's going to take about 15 or 20 minutes unless you're in commute times. That 20-minute commute could be an hour or more. If you're leaving at 8 a.m. on a Tuesday, or if there's a traffic jam from a car accident or something, yeah, that 15-minute easy commute the evening before could easily turn into an hour-long commute the next morning. Okay, let's talk weather microclimates now. The west side of town, the Richmond neighborhoods, the Sunset neighborhoods, they're going to be a lot colder, a lot cloudier than the more central neighborhoods that get a lot of sunshine, like Noe Valley, the Mission Bay. Very sunny, very clear, and a lot warmer. Now, I drive a lot for my job, and I'm always going from one neighborhood that's very bright and sunny, driving through, and you can just see these sheets of fog that are rolling over. And by the time you get up into those neighborhoods, it just feels like you're in a complete different state. It's 15 degrees colder, it's dark, it's windy. And an hour later driving home, boom, you're right back in the sun again. And we're only talking about a 3 or 4 mile drive. Something else to consider is the walkability. Walkscore.com is one of my favorite resources. Walkability in a neighborhood is extremely valuable for homebuyers in San Francisco. There is no other city in the country where you have so many 99 or perfect 100 walk scores. There's no other city that I can think of where they would look down on an 85 walk score. 85 walk score is terrible. Like, why would you want to live there? So I recommend you test your commute on Google Maps, and don't just type in your address and then your office's address. You can type in like, I want to arrive on Thursday at 9 a.m. and it'll tell you exactly when you should leave with a range. It'll say something like, oh, that's going to be 35 to 50 minutes. But then you type in that same thing, but you put that you want to arrive at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. on a Sunday night, and it'll say that's going to take you 19 to 22 minutes. So if sunshine matters, you want to start looking in the sunnier neighborhoods. Start looking in Noe Valley, the Mission Bay, Potrero Hill, Bernal Heights. And if you can handle some of the fog, then go look out in the Richmond neighborhoods, Sunset neighborhoods, Twin Peaks. If you're in the office several times a week or even 5 days a week, you want to live near Caltrans or BART, or check your company's shuttle schedule and see where their shuttles are picking up and dropping off. Almost every time, if your company has shuttles, it is dropping off in the most popular neighborhoods in San Francisco, the neighborhoods that everybody wants to be at. And that brings us right into blindside number 5. San Francisco has a very long, expensive, heavy permit process. And because of this, a simple remodel can take an additional several months and an additional several $1,000s to complete. And that's why so many homes in San Francisco have unwarranted space or illegal space, if you've heard that term. And just like the saying goes, for every 100 homes in San Francisco, 101 of them have illegal space in them. People just got sick of waiting 6, 12, 18 months to get a job approved. So they just went ahead and did it anyway with their handyman, or they did it themselves. But that decision is going to cost them tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars when come time to sell. If you want to live in a particular neighborhood that has a really high median sale price that you can't afford, sometimes buying one of these homes with this unpermitted space is your hack, your way into that neighborhood to get in below that median. But that can also put an additional strain on your budget trying to rework that and to fix it and get it permitted. So you want to be sure to check the 3R report to see what was legal, what was done legally, and what was done without permits. Airbnb restrictions are very tough in San Francisco. You basically cannot just go buy a house and make as an investment property and just throw it on Airbnb for 365 days a year. You can't do that. But these homes that I'm describing, they're a single family home and you're sharing your home with somebody. You're allowed to do that an unlimited amount of days. Even though it's one house, you're not sharing you're not sharing a front door to access it. They got their own door, they have their own parking. It's ideal. But none of that is possible if all the work was done illegally. And I never even talked about safety concerns. If you've got homeowners and handymen that are upgrading electrical panels, upgrading electrical, getting up on the roof, patching things up there, all that unpermitted work, you're looking at taking on possibly additional safety concerns too. Okay, let's talk about blindside number 6. This is the one that catches families off guard the most. I'm talking about schools. Now, families that buy in San Francisco, especially from out of state, they think that they can just go move into a top school and they're going to get into that school just like how it was in their city and their state. No, not in San Francisco. The San Francisco Unified School District uses a lottery system. So basically, you apply with the district and you put your top schools and you will get preferential points, like if a sibling goes to the school that you want, or if you live near that school, you will get some preferential points, but it's still no guarantee that you're going to get into that school that you just moved right next to. This is why a lot of people in San Francisco, a lot of homeowners opt in for private schools. A lot of new parents will go one of two routes, either put their kids in private school or move up to Marin, move out of the city into the suburbs. Private schools are going to be an extra $30,000 to $50,000 a year. And there is still an application process. It's not as bad as it used to be. A lot of folks already did leave during 2021, 2022. The competition in the private school area is not as competitive as it used to be. Okay, let's close this out with the final blindside that will put all of this together for you. This last one is quick, but it's still valuable. We're talking about parking. San Francisco issues 1.5 million tickets every single year. That's 4,000 tickets a day, and each of these run about $90 a ticket. That's the cost for street cleaning tickets, and that's the bulk of these tickets. Most streets have street cleaning just one day a week. Sometimes you'll see them on the bigger streets 2 or 3 days a week, like on Divisadero here in Nopa. But most neighborhood streets, it's just once a week. And a lot of the times you'll see the street cleaner line up and you'll see the parking people right in front of them issuing the tickets. Residential permit parking is another factor. Every year you're gonna have to get a new sticker, $150, $200. Some blocks have this, some blocks don't. The more central you are in the more popular neighborhoods, you are gonna see this. This does not mean it's gonna be any easier to park when you get the sticker. It's probably gonna actually even be harder. They pretty much just say you need parking sticker letter G if you wanna park here for more than 2 hours, Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. And buying a home, especially a condo without parking, is another hack that you can get into a more premium neighborhood well below the median. Parking is going to cost between 100 to 200K, sometimes even a little bit higher, more on the price. Sometimes you will see the old Victorians that were built before garages that don't have them, or the garage was converted to a third unit, but the vast majority of houses have parking. Now, I'm not sharing all this with you to scare you away. I love San Francisco. I'm not going anywhere. We bought our house 6 years ago. Before that, we rented in San Francisco for many years. I love it here. It's just my job to tell you all the good and all the bad that comes with living in San Francisco. If you're new here, my name is Erik Throm, former tech exec turned San Francisco real estate agent. I help folks that I meet on TikTok and YouTube every single day. And if you have any real estate needs or any kind of questions at all, check the description below for all my contact information. You'll find my email, my cell. It's my personal cell. You can call, text, email me anytime. Before you go, don't miss my next video where I review San Francisco's current market updates. I'll deep dive into what is changing in San Francisco and how that affects you. I'll see you on the next one.